And I have very, very sick patients, and I've lost two. But I have to tell you, what has gone on has been beyond belief. How many have turned on a local news station or a national cable news station and ever gotten an update on treatment at home? How many of you have ever gotten a single word about what to do when you get handed the diagnosis of COVID-19? No wonder. That is a complete and total failure at every level. So I have always treated my patients with something to treat the virus, something to treat the inflammation, and something to treat fibrosis, just as Dr. Urso had. And I have very, very sick patients, and I've lost 2. But I have to tell you, what has gone on has been beyond belief. How many of you have turned on a local news station or a national cable news station and ever gotten an update on treatment at home? How many of you have ever gotten a single word about what to do when you get handed the diagnosis of COVID-19? No wonder. That is a complete and total failure at every level. Okay, let's take the White House. How come we didn't have a panel of doctors assigned to put all their efforts and stop these hospitalizations? Why don't we have doctors who actually treated patients get together in a group and every week give us an update? Why didn't we have that? Why didn't we have that at the state level? 0. Why don't we have any reports about how many patients were treated and spared hospitalizations? From all the, I listened to 6 hours of testimony today. 0. We have a complete and total blank spot on treatment. It is a blanking phenomenon. At least in the United States, there's some heroes. Now, the American Society of Physicians and Surgeons took the lead. They're the group. They've identified 35 treatment centers in Texas. They know who they are. They have emergency hotlines. They helped Dr. Hall put together this very brief pamphlet, but there's more an extensive one. We can pass it around to everyone that at least gives people half a chance to find out about information, okay? This is a complete and total travesty to have a fatal disease and not treat it. Now, the National Institutes of Health and the Infectious Disease Society of America started putting out guidelines in the treatment of COVID-19, and to this date, they nearly exclusively deal with the hospitalized patient. The 2 papers that I have published as the lead author and supported by wonderful people by Dr. Urso are the only publications in the peer-reviewed literature that tell doctors how to treat COVID-19 as an outpatient based on the support of scientific information. The only 2. The Home Treatment Guide by the American Physicians and Surgeons is the only source of information available to patients on how to treat COVID-19 at home. The only source. So what can be done right here, right now? There's going to be more people that die in Texas, and it's an absolute tragedy. How about tomorrow? Let's have a law that says there's not a single result given out without a treatment guide and without a hotline of how to get into research. Let's put a staffer on this and find out all the research available in Texas, and let's not have a single person go home with a test result with their fatal diagnosis, sitting at home, going into 2 weeks of despair before they succumb to hospitalization and death. It is unimaginable in America that we can have such a complete and total blind spot. I blame the doctors for not stepping up. Where was the medical society stepping up and putting effort on this? How about from the federal and state agencies? There never was a single bit of group collaborative effort to stop the hospitalizations. Nobody even kind of thought about it. Bob Hall had me on a teleconference in April or May, and we're like, wait a minute, how come, where's UT Southwestern? I'm a graduate of UT Southwestern. Where's A&M? Where's the rest of the universities? How come we're not stopping this? How come we are not stopping this? But it gets worse, because in the paper I published in December of 2020, you know what he did? I had a terrific doctor from Brazil. We went through country by country by country and just asked the question, what are other countries doing? When was the last time you turned on the news and ever got a window to the outside world? When did you ever get an update about how the rest of the world is handling COVID? Never. What's happened in this pandemic is the world is closed in on us. There's only one doctor whose face is on TV now. One, not a panel. Doctors, we always work in groups. We always have different opinions. There's not a single media doctor on TV who's ever treated a COVID patient. Not a single one. There's not a single person in the White House task force that's ever treated a patient. Why don't we do something bold? Why don't we put together a panel of doctors that have actually treated outpatients with COVID-19 and get them together for a meeting? And why don't we exchange ideas? And why don't we say how we can finish the pandemic strongly? Isn't it amazing? Think about this. Think about the complete and total blind spot. So what happened? I can tell you what happened. What happened in around May, it became known that the virus was going to be amenable to a vaccine. All efforts on treatment were dropped. The National Institutes of Health actually had a multi-drug program. They dropped it after 20 patients, said we can't find the patients. The most disingenuous announcement of all time. And then Warp Speed went full tilt for vaccine development. And there was a silencing of any information on treatment. Any. Silencing. Scrubbed from Twitter, YouTube. Can't get papers published on this. We can't even get information out in our own medical literature on this. There's been a complete scrubbing. So this program has been one of try to reduce the spread of the virus and wait for a vaccine. And when we vaccinate, all efforts have to be on vaccination. And probably if I had 4 hours of vaccination on here. Think about it as we sit here today, the calculations in Texas on herd immunity. The calculations are we're at 80% herd immunity right now with no vaccine effect, 80%. And more people are developing COVID today. They're going to become immune. People who develop COVID have complete and durable immunity. And a very important principle, complete and durable, natural immunity. You can't vaccinate on top of it and make it better. There's no scientific, clinical, or safety rationale for ever vaccinating a COVID recovered patient. There's no rationale for ever testing a COVID recovered patient. My wife and I are COVID recovered. Why do we go through the testing outside? There's absolutely no rationale. I'd encourage this committee to actually look at what's being done and ask, is there any rationale? Is there any rationale for anything? Listen, there's plenty of COVID recovered patients. Let them forego the vaccine and let people who are clamoring for it get it. But at 80% herd immunity, in the vaccine trials, fewer than 1% in the vaccine and the placebo actually get COVID, fewer than 1%. The vaccine's going to have a 1% public health impact. That's what the data says. It's not going to save us. We're already 80% herd immune. If we're strategically targeted, we can actually close out the pandemic very well with the vaccine, but strategically targeted. People under 50 who fundamentally have no health risks, there's no scientific rationale for them to ever become vaccinated. There's no scientific rationale. One of the mistakes I heard today as a rationale for vaccination is asymptomatic spread, and I want you to be very clear about this. My opinion is there is a low degree, if any, of asymptomatic spread. Sick person gives it to sick person. The Chinese have published a study, British Medical Journal, 11 million people. They're trying to find asymptomatic spread. You can't find it. And that's been one of important pieces of misinformation. When Senator Hall called a conference call of what should we do in the Capitol when we reopened, I said, you know what? You know what we do at Baylor? You walk in and they zap your temperature. You got a temperature check and go in. Do we test everybody who walks into the Baylor Hospital? No. Are they a lot sicker than everybody in this room? You better believe it. So why would we do something here at the Capitol that has absolutely positively no scientific rationale and then do it in this context? So my testimony as I sit here today is COVID-19 has always been a treatable illness. A very large study from McKinney, Texas, another one from New York City, show that when doctors treat patients early who are over age 50 with medical problems with a sequenced multi-drug approach with the available drugs, 4 to 6 drugs that are available to them, now the monoclonal antibodies are better, there's an 85% reduction in hospitalizations and death. 85%. 85%. I want you to remember that number, 85%. We have over 500,000 deaths in the United States. The preventable fraction could have been as high as 85% if our pandemic response would have been laser focused on the problem, the sick patient right in front of us. We were focused over here and focused over there and focused on masks and what have you. Laser focused, sick patient, treat them. We lost focus on the most fundamental thing.
Dr.
That's my testimony.
Yeah.
You're not helping me, Doc. Oh, hello. Happy Freedom Flame Friday, and welcome to the Keeper of the Flame podcast. It is live at 5, and we are broadcasting from Rainbow's End at the very tippy top of Northern California in Humboldt County. So if you're new, welcome. If you're here, welcome. I think there might be 2 people watching. Fantastic. All right. We are so grateful to have you here. Somehow you've stumbled into the multi verse of the Power Girl universe. And this is one of our favorite portals, the KOTF Pirate Radio podcast. And this is our second attempt at a regular schedule, and I'm actually really happy with this. We're doing a live at 5 on Friday nights for your drive time home, if that is your thing on Friday night. And if not, if you're getting ready for dinner, whatever you're doing, we are going to hopefully entertain you for the next couple hours. And it is Black Friday here in the United States. If you celebrate that type of thing, here at Rainbow's End, we do not. We haven't done anything today that even resembles consumerism. We are, conscientious objectors of Black Friday. We started doing that sometime around 2008 or so, when the stampedes at Walmart happened and people were dying because of that craziness. So since then, we have not stepped foot in Walmart, if we can at all help it. And maybe we've done it a half a dozen times since then. And we don't celebrate Black Friday by consuming. We conscientiously object. So that's what we do here. If you celebrate Black Friday by consuming, of course, that is your choice as an American, and we do appreciate your free First Amendment right to express yourself in that way. But we do not do that here. So anyway, very excited about this. So we got another person popping in. Hello, step in, welcome. Got the live chat up. I am keeping an eye on it. And like I said, this is our second attempt at a regular slot. I'm really enjoying this time. I have a couple reasons why I like Friday at 5. That used to be Nikki Black's time in the Bay Area on The Bone. I used to be a big time fan of The Bone and Nikki Black. And so, I always enjoyed watching her show. I believe it was around that time on Friday nights, way back in the day. We used to rub elbows quite a bit in my past life, Nikki Black and I. So I used to see her at shows a lot, and we enjoyed the same type of music, like I said, when I was back in that old life. So I am no longer in that life. I have a completely different type of music that I listen to today. And if you're so interested in that, you could definitely check out Rafa Radio, which is one of our other portals into the Power Girl multiverse. And so that is one of my favorite, actually. That's our music channel where we celebrate the music that we listen to now, which is praise music and contemporary Christian music, which is actually what we grew up on. So things have changed. So anyway, happy Freedom Flame Friday, and hopefully I'm coming in loud and clear. I've got quite a bit to go over with you and to share with you. It's been a very eventful holiday, also a very quiet holiday here at Rainbow's End. We had an excellent Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. For those of you out there, either listening live now or will be listening in the future. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, whatever. Let's see how many people we can actually get in the chat tonight. That'll be fun. The idea of our Friday night slot is to warm you up for the Rip and Rabbit Hole on Freedom Flame Fridays, which starts at 7:00 usually on Friday nights. But this Friday, the Rip and Rabbit AJ is taking a much deserved night off. And so I get to keep you for a little bit longer than normal. I don't have to pop over to the Rip and Rabbit Hole quite as early or at all tonight. So I will be spending a little bit of extra time with you tonight. Probably until 7:00. So, because I have quite a bit that I wanted to go over with you, including I wanted to, we've talked a lot about the Freedom Flame Friday thing, and I don't know if I've really unpacked that for you guys. So I wanted to spend that time to acquaint you with the Freedom Flame, the story behind the Freedom Flame, and why we keep talking about it. So, I can tell you, as the keeper of the flame and as a fan of flames, I was pretty excited to be introduced to the Rip and Rabbit Hole and Freedom Flame Friday. And when I found the story behind it, it was very incredibly interesting to me. And since I have been acquainted with it, it's probably been a few months now. I am definitely feeling, I'm feeling the fanning of the freedom flame. So I'm really digging the concept. I think it's a fantastic idea. I've seen it work here in Humboldt. And I do know that tending to the fire is something that you have to, if you want to keep your fire lit, you definitely have to tend to your fire. So I think that freedom is definitely that way. And I actually know that it is that way. So I am a big fan of the idea and the movement. And since I've been talking to you about it and haven't really unpacked it for you, I thought I would spend some time doing that. So, but before I do that, I wanted to just get a shout out to everyone that is working over the holiday. If you're a first responder, if you're an EMT, or if you're fire or police, if you're an energy first responder, whatever happens to be your role, if you're a 24/7 worker and you're on call or are working the holiday, I just want to give you a shout out and say thank you for keeping us safe while everyone else is, getting their time off and their rest time, and maybe their family time. So thank you for sacrificing that time, whether it be from call out or from actually working a holiday shift. I'm very familiar with that flex. And though I don't have to deal with that anymore, I'm definitely hypersensitive to what what a unique sacrifice that is. So I just wanted to say shout out to all of the law enforcement and emergency services out there that are available to us if we need you over the holidays. I'd also like to take a moment to say thank you to the service members that are either fighting abroad or here on the home front. I just want to say thank you. Without you, we don't have freedom. And we appreciate hey, Kimber. Yes, Kimber says thank you. So yeah, Kimber is here tonight and chatting in the chat. So please, engage with us here in the chat. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much to the service members that are, out there and, in this crazy, crazy new normal that we are all having to endure. But those guys are on the front lines and protecting, our freedoms in the way that they do, in the very unique way that they do. And though it may be a rich man's war, it is always poor man's blood. And so I will always honor poor man's blood. And so I just want to say thank you so much for that. We love you, and we want to get you home safe, and we are praying for you. So anyway, so yes, back to Freedom Flame Friday. I thought it was long overdue for me to introduce to you why I am so fabulously inflamed over this Freedom Flame Friday thing. So wanted to introduce you to the Freedom Flame. Here we go. All right, so here it is. This is, if you go to freedomflame.com, guys, you can see right up here, freedomflame.com. You can see right off the top, you get introduced to the Freedom Flame. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it is the holiday season, and we're all going to be getting next to the fire. Yes, Kimber, vets commit suicide every year in our country. And actually, you know what, Kimber, thank you for reminding me. Before, hold on one second. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Before we get into the Freedom Flame, I'm going to look you in the eye because I sidetracked myself. So I just wanted to really take a moment. I wanted to say thank you to the first responders. I wanted to say thank you to the service members. But more than that, Kimber reminded me about the 22 veterans a day that commit suicide, which are actually the number one reason why I started doing what I'm doing here with Power Girl Productions. I am hypersensitive to their specific struggle in the in the mental health arena. I am not familiar. I'm not a veteran, and I am not familiar with being a veteran of a foreign war or anything of the like. But I do understand what it's like to be completely shut down by the system that you have invested your heart, blood, and soul into, and have unfortunately experienced quite a bit of that over the last few years. So, because of the fact that the industry that I come from, the energy industry, where I was a first responder, because of the fact that the company that I worked for here in California, who's rather infamous in the news, and shall remain nameless today, just because it's a good day, and I don't want to taint the day, but um, yeah, I just know that my employer really, really prefers, and as all employers, I personally think should prefers veterans. There's a lot of reason why there's a really great, it's a really good to hire veterans. There's a lot of reasons why, and when I was working in the academy, why I saw a lot in veterans to be, to admire and to appreciate and celebrate. There's a lot of qualities that one gets from spending time in those arenas, and so that makes them a very desirable employee. The problem is what I've discovered about my particular industry, and maybe it's just my area, but I really do think it's California after everything that I've researched over the last few years, is that the mental health industry has taken a serious decline. And I'm not going to get into my story tonight, but we will eventually start to talk about these things. And the biggest reason why I started doing what I'm doing it was because my career was canceled around mental health. And I was a very proactive and very educated and very active person in my recovery, and it still ended my career. The fact that the inadequacies and the incompetencies around mental health in California specifically, again, I can't speak to any other state. It frightens me. So when I say that I have a specific and unique perspective on veterans around mental health, it's specifically because working for the company that I worked for, seeing the failures that I have seen, and understanding how close to self-harm that I came a few times over the course of trying to get the care that I had paid into for 16 years. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what a veteran would go through. So the biggest reason why I won't stand down, why I won't shut up, why I keep telling my story is because nobody, absolutely nobody, should have to go through what I went through to get care for their mental health condition. And if a veteran has to go through that, that is absolutely abhorrent. So my biggest reason for not standing down is anyone that would come through this system that ended my career, that was a veteran, I would be horrified that they would be treated this way. Nobody should be treated this way. Let me make it very, very clear. But if a veteran is treated this way, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they actually get treated this way in the VA all the time. So just saying, what I went through is just an example. And unfortunately for the system that I'm speaking out against, I was trained by that system, and to be an information delivery specialist. And so for me to not use those skills, for me to not try to recover from my injury, for me to not climb that hill is actually a sin. So God has given me what He's given me. He's given me the blessings that He's given me, and here on Thanksgiving, on the Thanksgiving Day holiday, is very, very important. Gratitude is absolutely at the very, very tippy top of my list of how I heal myself from complex PTSD. It is at the very, very, very top of my list of how I do that. So that's the biggest reason why I started getting into media, was because I have a voice. I do have a story. It's a very unique story. It's a very California story. And I think it's a story worth telling. I'm hoping more than anything that there are some lessons learned, and there's value to be taken from it. I am not one to sit around and complain about the problem. I'm actually would much rather spend my time on solutions. So that's all I wanted to say about that. I just wanted to give a shout out to anybody that's actually out there in the field. And if you're struggling with mental health issues, please, please, please do not hesitate. Get the help that you need. Don't stop yelling until you get the help that you need. Speak as clearly and as articulately as you can. And if you can and you're not getting anywhere, everything in writing, because at least then you can have boxes and boxes of evidence that people can just ignore, including your work history. So anyway, I just want to say, without getting too dark, I just want to say seriously, this is a time of the year that a lot of us are really, really struggling. 17.6 vets commit suicide every year in our country. Yeah, I was under the impression it was 22 a day. That was Till Valhalla Project was the one that gave me that information. And so that's my biggest charge here, is to just, what we're trying to do here with the Keeper of the Flame podcast is to talk about mental health and trauma and all of the things that nobody else is willing to talk about, because these things are really important and people are suffering in silence, and I don't want to be one of those people that facilitate that situation. So anyway, if it is a holiday, we should all be mindful of our mental health. Take some time to rest. It's very, very important. If you're a mom, and you're out there and you're just trying to kill it, every single day, please take some time for yourself. Get some me time in there. Get some rest. If you're a dad and you're taking on way more than you can handle, and you're keeping it all inside because you don't want to talk about what's really going on, do your best to find some kind of outlet, some kind of healthy outlet. That's one of the things that we're really trying to do here. I have a few different channels that we talk about mental health in. This is just the podcasting channel, the Keeper of the Flame podcast. But one of the other, we have the Moxie My Heart channel, we have the Rafa radio channel, and a couple other different avenues that we talk about this stuff. So check us out. I do the best I can to keep everybody abreast of what's going on. I am working on a website, so hopefully that will help out a little bit of keeping everything in the same place. But primarily my charge is mental health awareness and just reminding people to just take it easy on yourself, because you can think you're a superhero, but I'm telling you right now, there's only one superhero, and that's Jesus, and he's got this. So you don't really need to got this. Okay. Because you don't want to make the same mistakes that were made around my case. And so hopefully, like I said, because I'm trying to find a way to make something positive out of this very negative situation. This media, opportunity is just one of my ways of doing that. So anyway, and as I was saying, I really enjoy to spend my time in the solution. And this is one of the things that I would consider a solution. This is really, in my mind, this is something that really helps keep my focus. It really resonates with me and the way I think as a combustion expert and longtime fan of flames. No pun intended. So this is a ceremony that happens yearly. It's been going on for a few years now, and it will be happening on March 20th, and I am going to definitely support it here at Rainbow's End. We will be lighting the Freedom Flame. I actually have my candle over here, my healing candle that I'm going to be using for this Freedom Flame for this year, or actually it's next year, 2023, March 20th. And I have picked out my candle, and I am going to, without much more ado, I want to introduce you to the website. But I also wanted to spend a little bit of time on the Freedom Flame story, because it really is a very powerful story. So let's, without any further ado, here's somebody that can tell the story much better than me. I'll see you on the flip side.
The unity of all who dwell in freedom is their only sure defense.
In 1854, 50 men, 3 women, and a child walked into this one-room schoolhouse in Ripon, Wisconsin, divided. When they emerged, they were united. United in freedom. This year on March 20th, Ripon Rabbit Hole and thefreedomflame.com will rekindle the spirit that keeps the flame alive in our annual celebration. We invite everyone, regardless of your political affiliation or location in the world, to join us in rekindling the spirit of that flame.
May the light of freedom, coming to all darkened lands, flame bright, until at last the darkness is no more.
Register now for event details at thefreedomflame.com.
All right. So that is, yes. So we're gonna come back around at the end, but I just wanted to introduce you to the Freedom Flame. The story of the Freedom Flame is really something that I want to hold on a second. Still working on this here. All right. The story of the Freedom Flame is something that I really want to spend some time on, but I wanted to kind of close out on it tonight because I do have some, jagged pills to to go over with you tonight. So I wanted to close out with the Freedom Flame, with the story of the Freedom Flame to help spark your Freedom Flame before I let you go tonight. But I just before I get into the updates, I wanted to spend some time introducing to you the concept of the Freedom Flame and what we're doing, celebrating it every Friday night. So tonight is not one of those Friday nights because the Ripon Rabbit has taken the night off and has taken his much deserved break. But next Friday we will be resuming in the Ripon Rabbit Hole Freedom Flame Friday, where we discuss synonyms to freedom. I am not exactly sure what next week's topic is, but last week's topic was reconciliation, and it was very well timed. And if you haven't checked that out, definitely check that out. You can find it on Rumble at the Ripon Rabbit Hole. If you just Rumble in the search Ripon Rabbit Hole, you can find the live broadcast from last Friday, which was all about reconciliation, and it was really powerful. That was always has a really great panel, very, very thoughtful, a lot of fun, great crowd, mostly a central Wisconsin crowd, but actually people from all over show up in the Ripon Rabbit Hole. So it's one of my favorite places to hang out on a Friday night, and it's nice to have a bit of a social hangout again, where I've been so isolated for so long. So it's been a real blessing to me. And Thanksgiving, I'm really, really at the top of my list trying to count my blessings, because that's one of my number one. My grandmother taught me at a very young age to count my blessings. And that is another way that I maintain my mental health in this holiday season. So anyway, so I wanted to get into some really quick announcements just to give you an idea on what's going on and what we're working on. If you're new to the Power Girl multiverse, you might not be familiar with all of the different ways to get in and enjoy humble and freedom and mental health awareness and natural healing and kinetic healing and all kinds of all of the great concepts that we love to talk about here at Rainbow's End in Humboldt. My Malinois is attacking my desk. So anyway, as always, I'm going to start right here in my own backyard, literally. And yes, I did make my bed this morning, Jordan Peterson. I do that every morning. I think it's a very important thing to do. And so starting here right out in my own backyard, that's how we do things here. We work very, very passionately locally, because we know that the local effort is the most powerful effort. So I just wanted to say a shout out to, again, Moxie Rose. I probably mentioned this last Friday, but I'm going to mention it again because she's my girl. She just turned 2 years old on the 20th. And she is a Thanksgiving baby, so she had a great week. We celebrated her birthday almost all week. She was getting presents. Somebody's a little spoiled. She was getting presents all week, and she still hasn't even opened all of her presents. She's a little whiny right now, a little bit spoiled because she's been doted over for the last week. And then she actually got some Thanksgiving dinner last night, which is a rarity. She doesn't, Malinois too quickly and easily become human. So you have to be very careful with that. And you need to make sure that you allow some separation between you and your Malinois. That's perfectly healthy to have those boundaries. So we're working through that right now. She's a little bit spoiled, but we just wanted to say thank you, Moxie, for the 2 years of magic that you have given us. Thank you for the healing that you have given us. And she's just an incredible service dog. And we could never have made it this far without her. And we are going to tell her story eventually, but I'm still I'm still working through the puppiness. She's only 2 years old, and even though she is a very, very well-behaved Malinois and incredibly gifted dog, she's still a 2-year-old puppy. So once I get a little bit more of a balance, I'll be able to actually dive into her story, because it's actually a lot of fun, and it's a happy ending to a really horrific moment. And actually, it's a huge win that we've been able to celebrate the 2 years together that we have, because I specifically got a Malinois puppy because I knew the level of work performance that I was used to as a utility worker in California. And I knew what I was going to have to do to get back to that place. And unfortunately, because my mental health emergency, which went completely unchecked, happened right before the new normal, really kicked it up a notch with the pandemic. It just became a riptide, a perfect storm of just the most horrific years of my life. And for me, that's saying a lot. So I'm a trauma veteran. I've been doing this for a really, really long time. I've had trauma almost all my life. And so luckily I have a lot of really, really great techniques that I use to stay above water. Unfortunately, for this energy first responder, the new normal started long before the pandemic, and it just ended up taking me over. Luckily, it happened before COVID, so that I was able to get the resources and things that I needed before it really became super urgent. But I'm still fighting for my livelihood as I'm waiting for Social Security to make up their mind whether or not they believe my disability. So again, not taking into account my 20-year record with PG&E, that's absolutely stellar, and kind of speaks for itself. So this is the problem with due process. When our due process gets shut down, when our First Amendment constitutional rights get shut down, people laugh at it and they don't think it's a big deal. But once you start to really dive into my story and understand what happened to me here in California, and how it's just a complete testimony to where we are at here in California as a statehood, then hopefully we can parse out some of these lessons. So anyway, that was a big, huge win that Moxie turned to. And I just wanted to really quickly introduce you to her channel. So Moxie My Heart, if you have not seen, she has her own channel. This is actually a really fun channel. If you're not into the hour or 2-hour videos where you don't want to listen to me ramble on for whatever for a podcast, you can check out Moxie My Heart. There's a lot of really fun. We do shorts. We do quick on the go videos with Moxie, and it's just some really fun adventures, and it's usually less than 10-minute clips. So it's just a heartwarming way for us to talk about working with a service animal and what an adventure it is to own a Belgian Malinois, and get to know her, because I'm telling you, these dogs are just absolutely incredible. I also got a little bit of the Belgian Malinois breed, but mostly it's just Moxie and me. And ultimately, the idea behind the Moxie My Heart is just another example of what I call kinetic energy kinetic therapy, where instead of sitting in an office with a therapist who, the talk therapy is great. And I absolutely, cognitive behavioral therapy and prolonged exposure therapy. If you can actually find a therapist that can actually work with you and do all those things, that's fantastic. But what I've gotten the most benefit from and the most health from is what I call kinetic therapy. And that usually involves, exercise. And in this case, because of the level of PTSD that ended my career, I ended up working with a service animal, which is, not necessarily a level that everybody needs. But hiking is a way, exercise is a way, time in nature, things like that. So just natural healing techniques, essential oils, stuff like that. So just looking, not these are just my experiences. I'm not trying to diagnose anybody. Of course, there's no way that I could possibly know as much as the medical and mental health industry. Oh, I could never ever compare to them. I mean, they went to school for how many years? So absolutely not trying to prescribe anything to anyone. I'm just really telling you what I've been able to do, because the medical and mental health industry completely turned their back on this power girl. So I had to figure it out for myself, just like I always have. That is part of my success story. That's just my most success. That's my biggest success, is working with what I call kinetic therapy, and all of those things that we go over in this media. So Moxie, my heart is just one of the avenues that we take to talk about mental health and mental health awareness. So I just wanted to throw that on your radar. I can, sometimes I can link it down in the description, but a lot of times I'm just shoving 20 pounds into a 5-pound sack the best way that I can. So, but I just wanted to put that on your radar. If you're not into the big long videos and you just want to have some fun with the dog, and see a little bit of Humble, ultimately, we really want to turn it into a hiking channel. Once I actually get my stamina up and she gets trained well enough that I can actually work a camera and work the dog at the same time, because, for the last 2 years, the dog has been absolutely hands-on and both hands. I cannot do anything else when I'm dealing with the Malinois. So once I get to a place where I can balance a little bit more, that's also part of what took a hit when I was injured, was me being able to multitask. So I'm really just taking my time. I'm just moving nice and slow. That's the benefit of being canceled, is that now, thanks to PG&E and the fact that they didn't want to give me any of my process, because if they wanted to give me process, I would probably still have a job. But they don't want to give me process. So instead, I have all of this time on my hands to talk to you about what I've done to heal myself under these conditions. So if you're struggling and, one of those people that, like, what I like to call taste lead during the holidays, because maybe your family has abandoned you. Maybe you're one of those people that, have been standing up for freedom and standing up for, the right to breathe freely and the right to not take an experimental, and you have lost family members and you've been isolated. I just want to look you in the eye and say that, number one, there's somebody that's always, always there for you, and that's Yeshua. And he's standing right next to you, and he's just waiting for you to reach out and ask for help from him. He can't wait to give you that help. He can't wait to reach down, scoop you up, and cradle you like a baby in his arms. But you do have to ask for that. So, and I know what a big, huge, gaping cavern that can be for some people, because I remember being on the other side of that cavern. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I do what I do. I just get over here on Friday nights now. I guess now it's the second time, but this is what I'm hoping to do. Because again, I haven't worked in a schedule now for quite a few years because I've been fighting for my pension. Luckily, I've been able to step back from that since August, the beginning of August. So I have had quite a bit of healing, and this is just my way of sharing that with you. It's just some ideas, take it or leave it. It's just my own personal experience. That's all I can speak to. I don't have any expertise or certifications in anything other than, technical information delivery. So I'm just delivering the information. And when it comes to the natural healing modalities, it's really just me talking from personal experience, personal use. This is what I do. I'm not suggesting that you do anything. I'm just telling you what I do. So just like really quick disclaimer on all of that. So anyway, yeah, that's a huge Thanksgiving success story. 4 years ago, 2018, when I was under complete assault by PG&E's, there, I did it. Frontline supervision, who found out that I had PTSD and then labeled me a liability, was harassing me relentlessly 4 years ago. And when I tried to make Thanksgiving 4 years ago, I felt like I almost burnt down the house. It was quite a fiasco. God bless Gary and his patience over these years while I've wrestled with all of these colossal things. But anyway, this Thanksgiving was a huge accomplishment. So this is part of the medicine, right? Being able to be that person that has gone through the dark night of the soul. If you're walking through the valley right now, if you're walking through the valley of the shadow of death, if it's so dark that you can't see your hand in front of your face, I can tell you right now that I have been there. I spent last Thanksgiving there. I spent the Thanksgiving before that there. But thankfully the last 2 Thanksgivings I've been surrounded by family and loved ones down in SoCal. But the Thanksgiving that I was under attack, full on assault, it was very, very difficult to get through, and not just difficult for me, but also difficult for my family. That is something that we don't talk about a lot when it comes to PTSD, and especially veterans that are struggling with PTSD, is it's not just the veterans struggling, it's also the family. So in my mind, it's really even more difficult to be a family member watching your loved one go through this horrific, nightmarish experience of a mental health emergency, because you're powerless. You're completely powerless to help them. And a lot of times the people that care the most, that do the most caretaking, that are the closest to the one affected, get the biggest damage. They get the most lash outs. They get the harsh words. They get all of the things that when the trigger happens and the body completely folds, you know, um, they're the one that get the brunt of that. So again, I also want to give a shout out to the families out there, including my family. We have had to, unfortunately, just like we were saying last time with Agnes, we had to actually, stay separate because the triggers were so severe and so intense that were brought on by the new normal. So I just wanted to say, if you're out there and you're dealing with a loved one that's going through PTSD, if you're affected in that second person kind of way, I just want to say, again, it's the same solution for you as it is for the loved one that's in the middle of it. Yeshua is right there next to you, and he wants to help you. He wants you to he is right there. The minute you reach out and ask for his help and say his name, he can start to work the miracles. And a lot of times he does it in a very gentlemanly way. It's very drip, drip, drip. Don't think that he's going to come in and turn your life upside down all at once. He does it. He understands everybody's needs. This is what is so powerful about him, is that he understands everybody's needs individually. He understands what speaks to your heart. He understands what really, really motivates you and what you're passionate about. And so he can speak to those things. So he is absolutely the same solution today, tomorrow, and forever, and for everyone. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But in the meantime, the kinetic energy, the kinetic therapy is fantastic. One of the other therapies, believe it or not, one of the other therapies that I've used quite a bit in dealing with, severe trauma is cooking. So that's why Thanksgiving was such a big, huge win. Cooking is something that I'm very, very passionate about. And it's been very, very hard to do over the last few years, to be able to keep up with all of the domestics having lost so many of my motor skills. So now that I'm getting them back and I'm actually feeling human again, which is fantastic. And a lot of it has to do with this Maligator because of the amount that she makes me get out and walk and get exercise and do all those things. That was all part of the plan, and it's working brilliantly. So I just want to say that I was able to make a pumpkin pie out of a local pumpkin, our farm pumpkin, green spiral pumpkin. I just found out. I asked Chelsea this morning, um, what kind of pumpkins they use because I wasn't sure if it was jack-o'-lantern or sugar pie, and she got right back to me on Instagram, and she told me it was sugar pie. So really, really excited that we have some sugar pie, some great, really locally acclimated sugar pie seeds, and the pie turned out fantastic. So we still have enough for another whole nother pie, gluten-free pie crust and everything, handmade from scratch, and from a local pumpkin pie. So that was a lot of fun, and the turkey was great, and I did way better this time than I did 4 years ago. And that's what I would say about that, is that, you know what, people don't realize how much brain space stress takes, how much physical effect that it has on your body. So take it easy on yourselves, please, over this holiday season. So anyway, one other announcement before we get on to the California announcements. We're still talking about Rainbow's End. I am going to start every third Wednesday of the month. I'm going to start a What's in the Box Wednesday. I'm not sure what time it'll be. If you have any suggestions on when you think a good time would be on Wednesday night, I don't want to get in the way of anybody, Liberty Cowgirl or any of those, ones that are broadcasting on Wednesday. So leave some comments in the chat or on the comments later on if you can think of a good time to do it on Wednesday. But what I want to do is spend some time in the doTERRA Loyalty Rewards program. And I, again, just want to show you how I use the program, because essential oils has become such a huge part of my evolution story. Let's put it that way. My redemption story. Essential oils give me the freedom and the health that I don't think I could get anywhere else. And so as we are, trying to navigate this new normal, and these doctors are just wanting to throw us on these prescriptions, that I can show you what I do. And a lot of it is really, really simple natural healing techniques that you would be surprised are incredibly effective and work like a charm. So on the third Wednesday of every month, I'm going to be going through my loyalty rewards program box that I get every month. This is how I deal with my essential oils, and that's a way that I can acquaint you with the world of essential oils by just showing you on a monthly basis what I'm getting, why I'm getting that, and maybe I'll be better on being up to date on my LRP, because this the loyalty rewards program, this is actually a really, really powerful program, and it could really, really change your life if you learn how to use it. And I realize that a lot of times people don't realize how many different ways that you can use essential oils. There's a lot that they don't know about the oils, and so I just wanted to spend some time in that, and not too much time, because again, I don't want to overload myself. But once a month to go over the box that I get in the mail I don't think is too much to do. So I'm going to try doing that on the third Wednesday of every month. Keep an eye out for that. And then, of course, just like this is what I love the most about YouTube, is that I can go live, or I can do pre-record, or do whatever I'm doing, and then it's always going to be in the library. Well, at least in case if they ban me or something, I guess it would be gone. But I don't, I kind of see the YouTube algorithms as a high mark, and I just don't think I'm going to have any problem with it. So anyway, that's something I'm going to try to do. And actually, I think I'm probably going to publish that on my humble homegrown channel, which is a whole nother channel that I will talk about more as I actually do those episodes. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. If you're interested in essential oils and natural healing, and like back to Eden, natural medicine, which is really, really simple stuff, and usually a lot cheaper. the home remedies anyway, and in time and energy and money. So we're going to be doing that at least once a month so that we can acquaint you with that. And that will be on the Humble Homegrown channel, which, like I said, I will talk to you more about it as I get closer to that mark. Obviously, we're not going to do that in November because we just passed that Wednesday up. But in December, maybe, hopefully, I might, yeah, maybe not. It might not be December. It actually might be after the first of the year. I think it's probably wisest to get through the holidays because I don't want to overload myself. Again, I have to be mindful of my disability, and my recovery is a number one around here. So anyway, so there's that. Keep an eye out for that. I'm really excited about doing some of that stuff. So that's that. And then the one last announcement for California for here. And then we're going to get into the browser and show you some of the stuff that I have. Since again, I don't know if I've got one person watching, if somebody's actually still watching. I'm going to keep an eye out to see if I see an activity in the chat. And if I do, I'll drop the link. But for now, I'm just going to go through the material that I wanted to show you. Since I've spent almost an hour just on the local updates and what Power Girl Productions is doing, I wanted to spend some time and show you what some of the other content creators are doing that I absolutely adore, because I'm not just here to promote myself. I'm actually really prefer promoting other people. And that's one of the reasons why you hear me talking about AJ the Rippin' Rabbit so much, because he's actually a lot of fun to promote and he's a really easy sell. But there's actually a lot of content creators out there that if you're not aware of, you definitely should be aware of. And they've got some really interesting news coming up in this next over this last week. So I wanted to go into that. But before we go into that, I wanted to do one last project to let you know that I am working on a website, and I have decided to land on a blog. Because I think that's the most powerful thing for me to do, is to write my story. There's no way I can possibly tell it on podcast. I think it's probably a little bit too much for my body, for one. I don't think I'm ready for that. And for two, I think it's best to have the written record of it. So maybe, who knows, it could turn into something else. But right now, I really just want to focus on eating the elephant, the baby steps. And that's what the Holy Spirit's been telling me over the last couple weeks. He's telling me, okay, it's time to tell your testimony. You need to tell your story. I'm fully aware that a lot of people probably really would like to hear the story and understand where I'm coming from. I know there's a lot of misconception. And my story, on a micro scale, it speaks to the California macro. So that's the biggest reason why I'm telling the story, because as a California energy worker for 20 years and as a kid, street rat in the Bay Area, and as a child of two young teenagers, I have been around and done a lot and seen a lot, and I have a lot of experiences that speak specifically to California. And so I thought the best and most fluid way to explore these topics is to just by doing a blog. So right now, over the holiday season, I'm going to take it really easy on myself over the close of the year. One, because it is the year full circle, and so I want to be able to enjoy every last full circle that I can get this year. And two, because, the blog is absolutely a 51-year, a culmination full circle, because there's definitely a book inside of me, and I don't exactly know how he's going to do that. But that's why I think the blog is the best way to go, because then it's just, a daily or weekly entry or whatever it is, whatever feels right, whatever the flow feels like. But I just really would like to equate you. I want to give you the opportunity to hear my story, because I'm hoping there's a lot of lessons that can be learned from it, and hopefully people can take something of value for it. So, and if nothing else, because I've been so slandered and defamed over the last 4 years, at least it'll be a correcting of the record. Because if you have been slandered and defamed in the media like I have, I really, truly encourage you to speak your truth. Do not let the lies stand. Please do not let the lies stand. Do not let anybody write your script but you. My script is written by Yeshua, and this is one of the biggest reasons, and the Holy Spirit, this is one of the biggest reasons why I want to do a blog, because then it can be well thought out and I can experience it on a much more manageable level. On podcast level, it's just not manageable. So it's fun to hang out with you on Friday nights. It's fun to bring you some fun media and to expose you to some stuff that I'm finding. But I don't really want to tell my story on the podcast. So I would much rather do that on a comfortable level and to do it written, and hopefully it will be more presentable and more professional, and more beneficial. Really is number one. What I would like it to be is beneficial. So anyway, so there's that. So keep an eye out for that. It will probably be a while before I actually get the website up, because I'm having to do this, like just here and there as I get help. Gary's definitely says he's going to help me with it. But I don't want to rush anything, and I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. So keep an eye out for that. And I will definitely be promoting it once I've got the website up and running and I'm starting to put the blog entries in place. So keep an eye. It's going to be called, the website is called My California Story. So I will give you more information as it develops. So speaking of that, we're going to move into the browser now. I've got some things that I wanted to show you. Like I said, I've got some fun content. There've been some very, very interesting developments, and I just wanted to share them with you. So, before I go, hold on a second. Look at that puppy. Look at the girl. I just wanted to show you this baby picture. I pulled it up so you could see the puppy picture. That's our puppy. She's not a puppy anymore. She's still a puppy. She's still got at least another year of being a puppy. So anyway, that's our puppy. All right. So I wanted to share these guys with you. If you're not familiar with Redacted, Clayton and Natalie Morris are fantastic. They are absolutely my new favorite. I'm really, really enjoying this show. So they're very thorough. They're very professional. It looks like they're both in media. Natalie is actually from San Leandro, which I'm thrilled about, because personally, I mean, no offense, Clayton, but I am a huge Natalie fan. So I know you probably hear this all the time, Clayton, but Natalie is, she's so much fun, and she's just a kind of lady that I would love to hang out with. But so I love being able to hang out with these guys. They've got a bunch of fun shorts. They've got quick podcasts, and then they do the long live podcasts. But it's just constantly giving. They have so much content, very professionally done, and they obviously have a team working behind them. They both have experience in media, and so it's always fun to watch them. But anyway, he is going to give you, we're not going to watch the whole 17 minutes, but we're just going to go really quickly into what has happened around the vacation. That's a code word if you're used to hanging out here. Oh, hey, Lynn Sandru. My stepmom is here in the chat, I think. Are you here? Are you still here? Hi. So anyway, these guys are fantastic. And Natalie's from San Leandro, and I believe that they have lived in the Bay Area. They've also lived around he's from Philadelphia. Clayton's from Philadelphia. And Natalie's from San Leandro, and they are just really, really great. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let him get you up to speed on what the latest developments are here with the new data. All right, here we go.
All right, let's get into our top story, shall we? So let's talk about the big news of the day. So just, breaking news just a short time ago, before we came on the air, from the Washington Post. Now, again, this is Jeff Bezos's Washington Post, okay, reporting that for the very first time, vaccinated people make up a majority of COVID deaths. This is the Washington Post headline just a short time ago. Vaccinated people now make up a majority of COVID deaths. That is the headline. And so I want to go a little deeper into this, which is I would say a bombshell story.
Yes, it is, but it's an analysis of data. They are just, under normal circumstances, they might post this as a bombshell story, but for the most part, it's just, here's the data, guys. So, we'll see how much the mainstream media
it's the
picks
data,
up
though.
with it.
It's important to tell us where the data came from. It came from the CDC.
Right.
So the data came from the CDC that the Washington Post covered. Okay, so let's go through what the Washington Post says about the CDC data. For the first time, it says a majority of Americans dying from the coronavirus received at least the primary series of the vaccine. 58% of coronavirus deaths in August were people who were vaccinated or boosted. Now, this is from August's data. This is not even September yet. According to an analysis conducted for the Health 202 by Cynthia Cox, vice president at the Kaiser Family Foundation, it's a continuation of a troubling trend that has emerged over the past year. As vaccination rates increased and new variants appeared, the share of deaths of people who were vaccinated has been steadily rising. In September 21, vaccinated people made up just 23% of coronavirus fatalities. In January and February this year, it was up to 42%. That was January, February. Per our colleagues, Finette Narapil and Dan Keating, we can no longer say, they say, this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
You hear that, politicians?
We can no longer say this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. From the Washington Post, quoting this analysis from the CDC. Here is the CDC data you can look for yourself. The Washington Post links right to it. Rates of COVID-19 cases or deaths by age group when vaccination status and booster dosage. So you can dive right into it and see it. Now, we should, of course, point out that the very last paragraph of this Washington Post story, you couldn't let us off easy, right? With just like the straight facts. You have to add in this part at the end here. Here's this quote on boosters. Being unvaccinated is still a major risk factor for dying from COVID-19, but efficacy wanes over time. And an analysis of last week from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention highlights the need to get regular booster shots to keep one's risks of death from the coronavirus low, especially for the elderly. So that's from the Center for Disease Control. Make sure you're still getting your booster shots, says the CDC.
I don't understand how they work that out from the data. If they're telling us that more vaccinated people are dying, why this paragraph makes no sense.
That paragraph frustrated me.
How can we?
It's like,
go ahead.
Because it's like the vaccinations are, more people are dying from that, but more people are at risk without it. Like, it's like you're saying the complete opposite thing.
But they are not giving us really the risk. We don't know because we have no COVID. We have no trials, especially for the booster that's out right now. That to say something like this, you should be able to quantify it and say, we know that this booster reduces your risk of transmission or pathological COVID or hospitalization, but they can't because they only tested it on 8 mice and said sometime in December they would get around to human trials. So how, I ask you, can they say this when they just presented us with data showing the exact opposite thing?
Great.
So do you see why I absolutely love Natalie? She has the greatest questions. I love to watch her in action and love that she's from San Leandro, California. Just saying. But anyway, I can answer that question, Natalie. And it actually, like most things in modern society, is stemmed in trauma. It's called gaslighting. They are absolutely saying the absolute opposite, hoping to God that you hear what you want to hear. It's called doublespeak, and they're speaking to cognitive dissonance. So anyway, that is some interesting data. Take it or leave it. It is what it is. I really wanted to introduce you to Redacted because they are fantastic. If you haven't already, please give them a gander. I am definitely a subscriber and I enjoy them thoroughly. They are who Gary and I unwind with. They are a lot of fun. They are a married couple And so it's a lot of fun for Gary and I to spend our couple time watching Natalie and Clayton. They're wildly entertaining, and they really do a fantastic job of giving you the news that you don't see on the mainstream media. So just really quickly, we're not going to belabor that point. Everybody has their opinion, as we say. So I'm not trying to change anyone's opinion. I was just trying to give a different perspective than what you might see on the mainstream media. So speaking of a different perspective, this one, actually, I do have some skin in the game on this one, because I can speak to authority on being someone who has been othered. The slandering and the defamation. Kathy Landry, woohoo! Yes, we love Redacted. Natalie, yes. Yay, I'm so glad you caught me. It's late for Kathy. It's 9 o'clock for Kathy. So it's great to see you, Kathy. It's so great to see you. So anyway, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time on this. I don't want to belabor this point. It's Thanksgiving, so we're going to stay in gratitude. But I just want to ripple that maybe have not been affected by the new normal, that there have been a lot of people out there that have been affected. And when I say new normal, I'm specifically speaking to the othering that has gone on for anyone who is what they call a anti-vacation, an anti-masker, anti this or anti that. Again, it's more gaslighting, it's more defamation, because that is it's a wide general term people are using to stereotype somebody who has an issue with the way all of this stuff has gone down. So it's very complicated. We are all very complicated. And so the first thing that we can do for each other is to actually be, hi Kathy, is to actually be truthful with each other and hear the words that are coming out of each other's mouth. So gaslighting has become almost our native language here, at least in California. I can't speak to any other areas in the United States, but here in California, gaslighting is unbelievable. And people just want to put their reality and project it onto you, and somehow you're just supposed to accept it. I have never been good at that. I have my own reality, and I respect my own first person reality, my own lived experience, and I don't appreciate anybody projecting their lived experience onto mine. I try not to do that with people, so I respect that. I hope that other people aren't going to do that to me, and that if you do, then basically you're just going to be, put on check. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So maybe that's why I'm not too popular with everybody, because I like to put people on check. It is the Great Awakening, and it is, we are living in the Great Deception, and it is very truth absolutely matters. It matters, guys. It just matters. So anyway, this is, without belaboring this point, I wanted to remind anyone who's speaking on amnesty, anyone who wants to have cognitive dissonance and pretend like that half of the country hasn't been terrorized over the last 3 years, or at least the last 2 years, or however long it's been. Time has flown. Remember, it was 2 weeks to stop the spread. And so again, this is where the body starts to kick in, because if anything is triggering me, it's definitely the othering that I have experienced while trying to negotiate the Social Security claim that's been forced onto me. Because when I went seeking for care through the system that I had paid into, I instead was othered, canceled, shut down, denied due process, treated inhumanely, and basically erased for having a mental health emergency, which they caused. So, and then having to negotiate that through COVID, which was not planned. I could have never planned that. And the fact that I had to, and then the way I was treated because I couldn't wear a mask, and that I refused to take an experimental vacation. I've done the research and I just refuse to do it. So anyway, the information is out, the data is out, just like Clayton was saying. new more data comes out, the media, completely washes it out. You don't hear from it at all. I mean, I don't know what the media is reporting on because I don't watch them, but I just want to remind everybody what we were put through and what was said about us, and that we are still human beings. We are still mothers and grandmothers and sisters and brothers. We are still humans, and this is an anti-human agenda that is trying to turn you into something that you're not, or just get rid of you altogether. And if you don't see that data, it's because you're probably not looking, or you're way too focused on mainstream media. So, but if you've stumbled into the Power Girl multiverse, then hopefully you're looking for something different. And I am truly trying to present something different. So I just want to, without belaboring this point, spend a few minutes and remind everybody what we were put through, because it's important. And when you're dealing with these people in your life who are family members and friends, remember that they are human and we should be loving each other and not othering each other. Okay? All right. I'm off. I'm going to let you watch this. What do you think, guys? Amnesty? I don't know. We'll see. I'll tell you what. We should forgive. Forgiveness is vital. Forgetting is a whole other thing. So speaking of forgetting, I have another story to tell you. And when you hear this story, you're going to see why I'm going to end with a JP Spears video, and why I want to really wrap up with the Freedom Flame. because this is not an easy story to tell. But this one should be on your radar because all of the things that you just saw, the othering around the unvaccinated, has to do with covering a very certain thing up. Yeah, I agree, Kathy. No amnesty. Yes. And that is this very ugly thing that nobody wants to look at, but we have to look at it for the sake of the babies. And so this is a completely new thing. I've been down in the radar quite a bit. I thought I knew Wonderland, and then I came across this whole new rabbit hole. So I did not go in. I know well enough now to just circle the wagons and check out enough to see what it's all about. And so I think this 3-minute video is a excellent way to do that. I'm really enjoying this young man's ministry on Facebook, and I would encourage you to check him out. His name is Isaiah Robin, and he is very, very wise. So I am going to show you who I'm talking about. So here we go. This is Isaiah Robin, and I follow him on Facebook. And he's going to tell you a little story, something that you should know about.
Let's dive down the Balenciaga rabbit hole. So Balenciaga thought it was okay to post these little kids holding these bondage dolls. Not only that, but in one of their posts, it was a hidden message, which was a hidden document, which appears to be a case known as Free Speech Coalition versus Ashcroft. Go ahead and Google it. Here's another picture with the Balenciaga rug, and right over there, another bondage doll. Now, before we even go more deep into this rabbit hole, where are these two kids? My question is, are they safe? Share this video and put in the caption, where are the kids from the Balenciaga post? I'm tired of these people messing with children. It's disturbing. So Balenciaga decided to take down the post, saying the bears should have been seen with the children. Well, duh. They don't mean this apology because it was a hidden document in that same post. That whole post was premeditated. So then they try to apologize for the hidden documents. These people aren't sorry. They're sorry they got caught. And let me prove it to you. They took those kids' pictures down, right? Then they posted this picture. But look closely. Look at the books. The top book, Michael Borisman's. Who's Michael Borisman's, you ask? That's a painter that likes to paint naked children. And not just that, more naked children paintings, but playing with dissembled hands and blood on the floor. This is just disgusting. That is a hand in that child's hand. Guys, this is just truly disgusting to me, to the point where it's making my stomach turn. And these people had the nerve to cancel Kanye? All this trash they're doing behind closed doors. Not only the book from Michael Borisman's, but look at the bottom book. It's a book called The Craymaster Cycle. What is that, you ask? Here goes your Craymaster Cycle, ladies and gentlemen. Complete buffoonery. And they wanted to cancel Ye. They can't cancel anybody. As a matter of fact, I pray millions of people see this video and you guys cancel Balenciaga. They are disturbing, they are sick, they are disgusting, and they deserve for their whole brand to be taken down. They do things right in plain sight, you guys, and a lot of it has to do with children. Do you hear what I'm telling you right now? It's time for light to be shined on things like this. Save our children. Leave the kids alone. You have to be a special kind of sick. A special kind of sick to want to mess with little kids. Leave the kids alone. Cancel Balenciaga. Let's dive down the...
So
You're the daughter of Katy Perry.
Small, please.
You're the daughter of Katy Perry.
This is Katy Perry's dad.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, we'll wash our palates with this in a second. So anyway, not to be the bearer of bad news, but there's all kinds of really wicked things happening in the world that if you are still enjoying the mainstream media, you have absolutely no idea of. So it's really, really important that we at least are aware of what's happening. I had no idea what Balenciaga was. That is way off my radar. I couldn't care less about this high fashion. Talk about buffoonery. I mean, it's just a spectacle. It's ridiculous. It's like watching a car wreck or anything else. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that there's some really, really wicked things going on in the world, and we're doing the best that we can to make light of it and shed light on it and to expose it because unfortunately, this is part of the new normal that they are trying to hide, and I don't, again, want to spend too much time on them. And I think that that young man did an excellent job of expressing the appropriate attitude around that whole thing. And you can't even imagine how deep that rabbit hole goes. Um, but I just wanted to put that on your radar. So so now I promised you that we would cleanse our plate with a guy, and this, if you don't know who this guy is, I mean, you really need to catch up. This guy is fantastic, and we love JP. And when I saw this, I thought, oh, this is an opportunity. I want to do a reaction video to JP's reaction video to one of my absolute tippy top 3 ah, content creators of all time right now. Alex Stein, prime time. Can we get an amen for prime time Alex Stein? He is absolutely one of our favorites. Gary and I love to get us some prime time in. So anyway, this was quite a I thought JP did an incredible reaction video. Yes, yes, but the Podesta art. Yes, yes, Kathy, we're sandwiching it in because I mean, there's so much to go into, and I don't. These people are sick, is all I can say. It goes so deep. Yeah, just Google Tony Podesta artwork and see how it makes you feel. See if it makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. But anyway, I wanted to share this JP story with you, or this JP reaction video with you, because I thought it would be so much fun to break the 5th wall, because JP breaks the 4th wall with this fantastic Alex Stein reaction video. Fantastic. And so why not? I'm going to do a reaction video to JP's reaction video to primetime Alex Stein. Here we go. Woo!
What's up, my freedom loving friend? Let me ask you this. Are you a fan of drag shows and drag queen story time for kids? Neither am I. I am the opposite of a fan. So today I want to do a quick reaction to a video I thought was brilliant. The video is called Confronting Armed Antifa at Drag Queen Story Time by Alex Stein. It's hilarious and also gnarly because he is in the face making jokes about armed Antifa members to their face. That's gnarly. I mean, these guys can obviously be nut jobs, so it's just fascinating the situation Alex Stein went into, and what he says is hilarious. It's scary. It's all the things. And just real quick, before we get into that video,
so he's going to do his promo, but I can skip it over. But anyway, yeah, I got to say this. I could not do what he does, and I love that he's doing it. Not only do I love that he's doing it, but I love his delivery, and it's just fantastic. It gives me so much joy. I can't even tell you. My heart and my body just quakes at the thought of a lot of these things. So as easy as it looks, maybe from your perspective, it's incredibly hard for me to do these things. And so to have people like JP Spears, who actually I have been following since his vegan days. I've always been a fan of JP, and I probably will always be. I don't care what anybody says. And then of course recently Alex Stein. He you're gonna find out in a second why it's so awesome. But yeah, this is a fantastic video. So let's and I just wanted to say the thing that, oh, that's what it was. The thing that makes it so cool is that my body, I can't even imagine trying to do what Alex Stein is doing. Except that I kind of did at the community center in Eureka, but not at the level that he did it. Like JP makes a valid point here. As much as I agree with them, using their Second Amendment right to protect the First Amendment, I do not agree that drag queen story hour is protected under the First Amendment. We can debate on that, but I'm still waiting for somebody who's willing from that side of the fence to come and debate me, because I have quite a bit of words and thoughts on that. So that's a whole nother thing. But I'm just saying, I am so triggered by this because of my years of experience, unfortunately, in this realm, and what I've suffered under it. That I couldn't even imagine doing what Alex does. So hats off to you, Alex. And I really do. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you. So anyway, let's check it out. So I'm going to let him do his little promo thing. Let's see if we can get through. Okay, here we go.
Which, by the way, this is done recently in Denton, Texas.
See, this guy keeps on trying to bunt me every time I walk by. You what? Dude, I'm walking down the street. I'm standing here. I'm allowed. Let him go sideways. Get out of my.
This dude, I don't think Alex Stein pushed him over. I think the kind of the hysterical frantic guy with a sign and the mask for his protection tripped over a bicycle.
Get out of my.
It's funny, like the masked armed Antifa guys, like, okay, you just let him walk, and then the guy trips on the ground. Hilarious. P.S. These Antifa service members, it is so creepy that they insist on wearing these dark masks. They do it everywhere they go, which for me,
I'm going to say, before he gets into that, I'm going to say, as a victim of sexual abuse and domestic violence, I absolutely do not feel safe with the way they have normalized covering the face in this way. So the fact that Antifa can stand there and menacingly do that and somehow be on the same, I mean, again, they're just expressing their First Amendment. So these are all like really fine lines, right? This is why the debate is important. This is why the conversation is important, and bringing it into people's awareness is important, because this shouldn't be allowed to just stand. There should be a debate around it, and there should be, there should be some pushback. There's got to be checks and balances, guys. We've completely, in this new normal, lost our sense of balance and checks and balances. All right, here we go.
It suggests they're afraid to identify. They know they're not there doing good. They're doing nefarious things, so they don't want to be identified. And by the way, anyone who is truly proud of what they're standing for, what they're standing for me, these nut jobs.
Do you see me hiding my face or my name? No, you do not, because the truth stands on its own. Let it loose. It's like a lion. It'll take care of itself.
Always being in masks, it just screams lack of integrity, not truly believing what they say they stand for. It's just a disgusting form of intimidation, in my opinion. It's like drag queen story time. We need armed Antifa with friggin' assault rifles outside of a children's bookstore to protect these children while they're getting indoctrinated and sexualized. Thank you guys for your service. Let's move on.
All right, Alex, you need to leave. I'm not leaving, guys. You're trying to get in my way. I'm here on a public street. Get out of my way. Oh my God, guys, I'm so scared. The Antifa, they got their play guns, their squirt guns. Oh my God, your arts and crafts time. Did this mess up your arts and crafts time? You guys gonna be able to go home and play with it? Why is this scary they are? Oh my God, this guy's so scared. I'm so scared. God, it's Big Gun. He's a big bad guy.
That is unbelievable. In their face, these armed Antifa guys. Dude,
What do you
hats
think,
off to
guys?
Alex Stein for being fearless.
I mean, how many walls are we breaking here? This is unreal. Antifa is using their Second Amendment right to protect a First Amendment. We're reacting to JP's react. I mean, this is as good as it gets, guys. Come on.
Probably understanding these guys aren't going to actually do anything, thank God. But man, so fearless and so hilarious.
Oh my God! I'm so happy
So
you're protecting
hilarious.
these children so they can go get indoctrinated and go in there for transgender story time. You're such a good American.
Protecting these children so they can get indoctrinated.
God bless this guy. Look at him. I'm scared.
Right, from parents that have a problem with it.
I mean,
Parents
these
and
people, these are the
grandparents that
real
have a problem with it.
cowards. They're hiding behind their masks. They got their
True story.
little guns. They think
Couldn't
they're so
agree more.
tough. We're at a bookstore here in Denton, Texas, where they're trying to do drag queen story hour. And of course, the typical people here with their masks on, not able to actually stand up for what they believe in because they're all cowards.
True
There
story.
it is.
Man, I said it a second ago, just reiterate it because
Couldn't have said it better
I heard
myself.
him say it. It's just so true. If you're needing to hide behind a mask while you're standing for something, it means you don't really stand for it. You're not a person of integrity.
Just saying.
Not you, but them.
Officer, you think it's unusual they have their assault weapons like that
He
out
means
here
the
in front of a
royal
place like
you.
this? Is that normal?
I don't have any
No
comment. She's probably like, Alex, these nut jobs are here. They're allowed to be here. Don't provoke them. Just get out of here. That's what I'd be thinking if I was that police officer.
No comment. Dude, I'm walking down the street. I'm standing here. I'm allowed. Let him go sideways. Get out of my.
Never gets old.
I'm not.
I want
By
to
the way,
put that
like
on a
the
loop.
Antifa guy, Alex, you need to leave. You'd want like a real strong man, that Antifa guy, but that was just like the most what am I trying to say? The least intimidating voice from a dude who's trying to dress in the most intimidating way. It's just comedic poetry.
Children. But see, that's how
You can't make it up.
These are the real scaredy cats. They gotta walk around
The
with
new
a gun.
normal
They can't
never
handle themselves
disappoints.
like a real man. All right, guys, I just want to announce I'm Primetime 99 Alex Stein, and I love y'all, even though you guys don't love me, and I know you guys probably love children a little too much, but I'm very empathetic to you guys. I love you guys. Even these guys with the guns, I feel sorry that you guys were probably abused as children, and I really hope you guys get the mental health care that you guys deserve. I love you guys. God bless you all. I love you guys. I love your rights. I think you guys are great. We need to transition more children. We need more drag queen story time for elementary school kids.
How creepy is this scene? Just these
Seriously,
fully
this
masked
is-
people.
this is
Some
family
of them,
time now, guys.
they're wearing obviously
This is
like these
family friendly.
snowboard
This is the new
goggles,
family-
so you
Can
can't.
I just stop it there? This is the new family friendly. Look at this. Does that look warm and fuzzy? I mean, that's where we're going with this. It's ridiculous.
And even see their eyes. I want to say that is satanic. But Alex Stein's just like, I'm so sorry you guys were abused as kids, these cowards. It's so funny. Which, by the way, one of the messages of contradiction that these nut jobs are showing, which in my opinion is just more evidence that they stand for nothing other than intimidation and a show of fascism. Like, we want to shut down all opposing views. These guys are carrying weapons, which apparently they're doing in a legal fashion. There's a police officer there. So let's just have faith it's done in a legal fashion, which I'm all about gun rights. But they're representing a side, obviously the super woke left, because we're doing drag shows for kids here, people, that side is so against guns. So I wonder, obviously these Antifa people stand for nothing, so they don't give a crap about that. But the people inside doing the story hour, they're like, yeah, like, let's read these kids these stories, they're probably inside like, all right, we have Antifa out there with guns and we're told we're against guns, so we're against guns and we're doing this. I just wonder how they compute that. Yeah, it's just fascinating. So with that said, that's a video. Hopefully it amused you as much as
I agree. I don't know how they reconcile a lot of these things, and that's That's why I'm going to continue to call them out, because it's, hypocrisy. It's absolutely abundant hypocrisy. As Liberal Hive Mind puts it, another one of my favorite creators. So anyway, hold on. So that's that. And yes. So I promised you. Yeah, exactly, Kathy. So do you think that's family friendly? It doesn't seem family friendly to me at all. Absolutely not family friendly. And I don't understand why they got to get the kids involved. We've done quite a few shows you can check out. We did the situation that we have here in Humboldt, as a matter of fact, that isn't over. Again, this is another reason why I don't want to commit to too much, because I'm still actually fighting in the field. We don't know what's going to happen with this Human Rights Commission and their rapid response plan. Right now, I'm letting it, all pan out. But we're going to see what happens. And I'm not letting them off the hook. Why would I? This is absolutely just another defamation and slander. And they're calling us hate. They're saying that we are haters. If you haven't checked it out, check out on the videos tab. You'll see that I edited a video, and all the evidence is right there. You can make up your own mind whether you agree that this is family friendly. And this is happening right here locally in Eureka, California. We're out here fighting in the field for children. We're not just out here on social media, and we're not just podcasting about this. We're actually out in the field. So I am going to hold the Human Rights Commission to task, and we'll just see. I'm going to give them an opportunity to do the right thing. The right thing here, clearly, after defaming us in the media and calling us haters, when in fact we were just there to stand for children, would be, of course, to do a retraction of the story that was so defaming, and to tell the truth of the matter. And I have already done an hour-long video that shows all of the evidence. It gives everything, both sides of the story. You can see it all plain as day. They're not hiding it, like the gentleman, I think his name is Isaiah, said. They're not hiding it. They're doing it in plain sight. So they're relying on the fact that nice people, good people, one, don't want to pay attention to this stuff, and two, certainly don't want to say something about it. So, I've always been controversial. I've always been an upstart, and I've always been a big mouth frog. So I'm going to continue to be a big mouth frog, all for his kingdom. Woohoo! Good evening. Yeah, no worries. I'm just getting used to this. This is the second time, all for his kingdom, that this is only the second time that I have done this. So I'm really just trying to do the live at 5. And normally I would already be bouncing over to the Rippin' Rabbit Hole, because it's 6:35 now. And at 7 o'clock on Fridays, we have Freedom Flame Fridays in the Rippin' Rabbit Hole with AJ and Brock and all of the fantastic the freedom fighters of Central Wisconsin, and all of the, great panel members and on studio audience. What a fantastic time that is. We're not doing that this Friday though, because it's Black Friday and AJ is off. So yeah, hey, so very cool to see everybody. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do the warm up for the Rippin' Rabbit Hole Freedom Flame Fridays, because we are big time Freedom Flame fans. And that's what I wanted to end this podcast on, because as you can see, some of it was jagged, some of it wasn't too great to stomach. And that's why I tried to sandwich it in with some fun stuff and some good news and some, that kind of stuff, because it is Friday and we are taking it easy. But I don't want you to, forget what we're fighting for. Because again, this is not for us, guys. This is not for us. Let there be trouble now, so that my children know peace. This is what I am trying to fight the fight now, right? All for his kingdom, so that our children know peace. So that's what we are trying to do. That's the only reason why I bring it up. It is on Friday, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I do want to remind you that we are still fighting this war, and it's not going away. And I don't agree with the drag queen story hour, just because we're involving children. Otherwise, do what you're going to do. If it's an adults, but it is not appropriate for all ages, and it is not. That did not look family friendly to me at all. So I just want to say huge shout out to Primetime Alex Stein, because wow, man, you are totally giving this Power Girl a thrill. I absolutely love what you're doing, and you're adding fuel to my fire and my freedom fire. And that's what we're doing. We're all for his kingdom. And Dee from Humboldt's her peace and unity movement here on YouTube, where all these channels get together and support each other. I have to say that I haven't been able to support as many channels this week because I've been focusing on this Thanksgiving dinner that was coming up. I had attended to have my Freedom family, and then my Freedom family guys got sick and they weren't able to make it. And so it ended up being a wonderful, lovely, quiet Thanksgiving alone with Gary and Moxie, and we had a wonderful time, and it took all the pressure off. So it actually was a huge blessing. And guys, don't even think that I'm even tripping in the slightest that you didn't show up, because I'm the ultimate introvert. So anytime you cancel on me, I'm literally doing the Snoopy dance that I did not have to engage with people. As Agnes says, anytime the Puerto Rican doesn't have to do people, she's happy, she's good. So that is, don't feel bad about that at all. It was a wonderful Thanksgiving. We had a really, really great time. And I got through it. But that's the reason why I have not been able to support the channels for the peace and unity movement that I usually do. I try to catch Dee as often as I can in the mornings, because she is such a faithful she is such a faithful streamer. But this week I've been so focused on Thanksgiving dinner, because that's a big thing for me, to make a Thanksgiving dinner with everything that I've been put through. But it's also a big, huge sign that I've made incredible progress. So I'm just really, it's a big, huge win. So Kathy says, driving home today, there was a man on the sidewalk in Derry with a sandwich board that said, no child is born in the wrong body. I laid on the horn, beep, 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 to show my agreement. Yes, that I agree. We are perfectly and miraculously made. We are wonderfully made. He knew exactly what he was doing when he made every single one of us. And I'm going to tell you, I have been deluded by this wicked lie that has infested this land, that is really bringing out the blue-haired banshees. And I can tell you, I've had the same. I have no judgment for where people are at, but I'm just so glad that he has rescued me from that thinking, from that wrong thinking. I'm so glad that he has rescued me from that, and that he has given me a heart for the unborn, as my dear friend Sarah prayed with me a long time ago, long before he ever cracked my egg and let everything spill out. Sarah and I prayed together to gain a heart for the unborn, and it's been very powerful for me. It was definitely a very powerful prayer. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And I would just say to anybody that, what I always say is very simple. These are very, very complicated issues, and that none of them are simple. I mean, people look at me and the things that I talk about today, and they make all kinds of assumptions about who I am and what I believe. And a lot of it is just wrong. It's just what they're getting from this new normal group think, where they're trying to put us all in a box and have us thinking all the same way. That it's not healthy. It's not right. And that's the biggest reason why I support Freedom Flame Fridays, because nothing is more powerful than the individual. And I want to share with you. So let's see, what is Al for his kingdom? So many women think it's their body, their choice, without even considering what God feels and what he's created for a reason. That is so powerful. Yes, Al for his, yes, that is so powerful. That is exactly what it is. This is a contract between God and a completely other soul. And yeah, it's very true. But there's a lot, there's a lot of people that are in pain. And there's a lot of people that are in fear. There's so much trauma. And that's the biggest reason why I won't stop talking about trauma, why I won't stop talking about Yeshua, why I won't stop talking about solutions, because right now the loudest voices are not the most healthy. And we need to have people standing up that have those that have that drive, that have that spirit, that have that fire inside of them to do that, and that have a story. I mean, ultimately for me, I had a story that left me no choice. I have absolutely no choice but to tell my story, because there's just far too many people that I'm sure are in my same predicament that don't know, which way to go, up or down. So I am going to do the best I can just to tell it. I'm going to do the best I can to get on when I can. It is very taxing for me. It has taken a long time for me to even just get used to just this. But I think I am ready to make a commitment in 2023, and I'm going to do everything I can over the next few weeks to fulfill that commitment. And that's to come on at 5:00 on Pacific time, thinking in Central time because of my Wisconsin friends. But to come on at 5:00 Pacific time and warm you up for the Freedom Flame Fridays and the Rippin' Rabbit Hole, where the discussion is fantastic. And I just learned so much, and there's so much inspiration, and hopefully I will also be able to inspire you as well. Let's hold on a second. This, I want to show So I spoke with a friend today that's completely against Roe versus Wade being eradicated, and feels that if she raped or had a child, raped or had a child that may have Down syndrome, that gives her the right. Yeah, it's deep, man. It's really, really deep. It's not an easy, excuse me, Maligator. It's not an easy, it's it's just really deep. It's really complicated, and um it's not something that is going to be solved in a day or in a podcast. And I have a heart for women that are in this predicament, because I think that but I also am I'm really concerned with where the vernacular is going. I'm really concerned with where the narrative is going, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I have the audacity to do what I'm doing, because I feel like I have some experience. And it's just these are just my opinions in this regard. But we have a long way to go to be able to see eye to eye on a lot of these issues. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I really support the Freedom Flame, because it's a really, really simple concept that is supposed to be, and is meant to be, and was from the very beginning supposed to be a unifying thing. If we have to find common ground. These really dividing issues are getting the loudest play right now, because that is what our owners, for lack of a better word, wants us focusing on. And I'm telling you right now, that's not what we should be doing. That is not the solution. We cannot have we cannot have macro conversations about issues that need to be, it needs to be examined on the micro. The only person that can understand what a person is going through at any given time is that person in that moment. The best we can do as neighbors and friends and family is to be there for that person. But these, especially this particular issue, it's I feel very strongly that it's not something that we can even talk about on the macro, because it's such a micro issue. It's such a personal issue. And even though, yes, we do have a right to speak for the unborn, and we can continue to do that, we absolutely need to have a heart for these women that are being led down the path, that are being lied to, that are being deluded, that are being taken advantage of, that are in fear, that are, this is a whole population of people that are being alienated. Again, here's my thing. I refuse to participate and become an enemy, or to become the abuser in that way. I will not other someone, or point the finger. I can speak to the fact that I now feel completely differently than I did in my youth. I'll tell you that. I feel completely differently about the unborn, and having a heart for the unborn, than I did in my youth, because I was in that delusion. I was in that fear, and I have always lived my whole life under the gun. So I have a completely different perspective. And that's why, for me, it's really important not to other women that are going through this moment of truth, right? And so, because again, we women, as women, we are under full frontal, full on assault. We have never been more under assault. So to me, it's so important. It is so important that we continue to support each other, especially as females. And I'm not talking about hypothetical females. Um, we need to support each other more than ever. And so I don't know what that means when it comes to big, really hot button issues like that. Other than we just need to love each other. We just need to love each other, because that's the number one rule. And if we can stick to that one golden rule and just treat each other the way we want to be treated, maybe the world would be a better place. Maybe it really is just that simple, guys. So anyway, that's what I was saying about. Find my way back to the ripping rabbit hole. Here we go. There we go. Hold on. Thank you for your patience as I find my way back to the Freedom Flame story. So that's why I wanted to wrap this all up with the Freedom Flame story, because this is such a powerful story. And we are I didn't know if anybody wanted to come in tonight. It's getting kind of late. I can drop the I've been just kind of getting used to doing this. So I can drop the link if anybody wants to come in. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to play this video. It's about a 9.5-minute video. And then if you want to come in and chat, we can totally do that. I can hang out. I've got a little bit more time before I start to get really, really hungry and need to eat dinner. It is Black Friday. It is Freedom Flame Friday. We are holding the spot. There's no Rippin' Rabbit Hole tonight, so we got plenty of time. If you want to come in and check it out, then you can. If you want to come in and talk to me, anybody, I will put in the, let's see if I can figure out how to do that. I will do that as I'm playing the video. So I'm going to play this video for you, and then I'll drop the link in. And if you want to come in, we'll maybe hang out for another few minutes. And if not, no harm, no foul. That's totally cool. If you just want to watch, I'll probably wrap it up after this video, give you a little bit of a take on how I feel about it. But ultimately, I really just wanted to wrap it all up with this, that we do need to find a way to see eye to eye on this, and even the alternative media, is steering everyone down the division road. If we do anything, we need to unite. If we do anything, can I say that again? If we do anything, we need to unite. So, one of my huge developmental experiences was being in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. And one of the most powerful things that one of the old heads told me when I got there was to look for the similarities and not so much the differences. That's what I would encourage everybody to do, is to look for the similarities in your life with the people that we love. Because I'm telling you, this theater of war, the rumors of war, has a lot to do with what's going on in our minds. It's important to be able to be detached from this information and to not bring it into our everyday life. We can have the conversation, we can have the debate in a respectable way, and it is important to have these debates. Like I said, the conversation needs to be had, because we don't want to just let it stand the way it is, because right now the new normal is taking over in mad sense, and we seriously need to make 1984 fiction again. This is getting really, really scary, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I love the peace and unity movement that we're doing on YouTube. And I love all the things we're doing in the Rippin' Rabbit Hole. And, like I said, we're out here in the field. I'm working with my Kingdom Warriors. I talk to them as much as I can. And but I am trying to get more out here and start to tell my story in a really significant way, because I do think that there are some nuggets that hopefully people can take from it. I've learned a lot. God has shown me a lot, and I've had a very unique experience. So I just want to share that experience with you. But again, my media will not be. I refuse to participate in the othering. I refuse to participate in the divisive conversation. I'm not saying that I will not talk about the hard things. I want to talk about the hard things, but you'd be surprised at where I come from. You'd be surprised at my perspective. I wear a cross and I wear a flag and all of these, but I also, I came from the one of the darkest places in the country, and I've been around, so I have a heart. I have a heart for the orphan. I have a heart for the frightened, overwhelmed single mother. I have a heart for, for the trans people. I have a heart, for people that feel they're so lost that they're just trying to find their identity and whatever that is. I have a heart for people that are living in such a dark place that they can't even see their hand in front of their faces. Those are the kind of people that I relate to more, actually, and those are the people that I'm speaking to in my media. I just want to show you what I found, and that's it. I just want to show you what I found, and what I found is that you have a friend in Jesus. You have a Messiah in Jesus. You have a Savior in Jesus, and I'm sure that sounds like Greek to you right now. But what I would say is, just like 3-week, when I went to 3-week, I just let it wash all over me. All this technical language, I had absolutely because every trade has a language, right? And that's how they know whether you belong or not. And the first thing you have to do if you're going to be in that trade is to learn that language. Well, maybe you're here because you're trying to learn a new language, and I can help you with that. I can help you with that. And because I'm not going to push it on you, I'm not going to say that you're wrong or right or up or down. I'm not going to make a judgment on you. I'm going to tell you my experience and what I've seen and what I've witnessed, and what I've been a witness to. And that's it. You make up your mind. You make up your own mind. And hopefully he will find you. Hopefully you can learn to reach out to him. If anything, hopefully, if that's what you're getting, is that there's somebody standing right next to you, literally right next to you in the fire, and he is dying to help you. And literally he died so he could help you, so that he could reach you. And he's done that for me. I was Bane, you know what I'm saying? I was Bane. I was so made of concrete. You just don't you just don't grow up where I grew up, and it just doesn't work. That's just how it works out, guys. That's just how it works out. You ask any Bay Area rat, they'll tell you the same thing. So it's just, some of us, we just got it like that. And so, that's what I relate to. But he's changing me. He's changing me. He's done a lot. He's turned my world completely upside down. And, I was just telling somebody the other day, it just started with a simple, it started first making bone broth, and then keeping the Sabbath holy. Which wasn't easy to do in my profession, but I did. And I'm telling you, that was where it started. And he started turning my world upside down, and it's completely unrecognizable today. And I'm still untouchable, and I'm still frustrating the enemy because I'm untouchable, because dude, I am who I say I am. This is my superpower. So it's the truth. That's all it is. It's just the truth. Like I said, you let the truth out, and like a lion, it takes care of itself. So this is a truth that is, I'm very, very passionate about, this Freedom Flame ceremony that AJ the Rippin' Rabbit is working very hard to revive. And they actually have a physical ceremony on March 20th there in Ripon, Wisconsin. But we're going to celebrate it here at Rainbow's End. We're going to do a live broadcast on March 20th. That's going to be one of our marks that we're going to put out on the calendar for 2023. And we're really, really excited. And like I said, we've already got our calendar. I'm sorry, we already have our candle. So I would encourage you, wherever you are, to go out there, get yourself a Freedom Flame candle, and join us on March 20th for the lighting of the Freedom Flame, which we went over earlier in this video. You can rewind for that. But this is the actual story. This is the 9.5-minute story of the Freedom Flame. And I wanted to share that with you as we go out. And it looks like I'm not seeing any activity in the chat. So I'm just going to close out with this, if that's okay. I'm going to go eat some dinner and have some great leftovers. Man, that Thanksgiving dinner. By the way, a shout out to RJ Earnhardt. You did the recipe with the, oh my gosh, that was fantastic. The turkey recipe. This is what she told me to do. She said, get some butter. I whipped some butter, some Better Than Bouillon, some garlic, some minced garlic, and some other salt and pepper or whatever, and use that to base the turkey. I whipped all that together, and it was amazing. It was the best turkey we've ever had, and I'm about to go get me some of that. So yes, Kathy, get your candle. So get your candle, because we're going to get together on March 20th, and you can watch us here on Keeper of the Flame podcast, and we're going to do live broadcast of the Freedom Flame. I don't know. I'm not sure how we're going to figure that. I'll figure it out with AJ, but get your candle, because this Freedom Flame I'm very, very passionate about this, and I want to share this story with you. So without any further ado, I want to say, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Get some downtime. This is just the very beginning of a long weekend. Get some time to yourself and with your loved ones, and get away from the grind. All right, guys, take care. And I'm going to say out with this, and we will see you next Friday at 5, live at 5 Pacific time. All right, guys, you take care. Here we go.
There isn't any doubt that the meeting in the Little White Schoolhouse in Ripon, Wisconsin, March 20th, 1854, played a major role in the political landscape of today. This fact was preserved in a major way exactly 100 years later today in 1954. Days before the centennial of the Republican birth, on March 7th in Washington, D.C., Vice President Richard Nixon, was also the chairman of the Republican Centennial Committee, made a remarkable announcement concerning Ripon. Nixon had announced plans for the rekindling of the Freedom Flame, and that citizens of Ripon have pledged to keep the flame burning. Nixon said the flame will be lighted at the same small schoolhouse where Whigs, Free Soilers, and Democrats gathered in 1854 and pinned upon themselves the label of Republicans. He went on to say that the affair held in Ripon on March 20th, 1954, will be attended by many Republican national leaders, Hollywood stars, and others. Ripon will be the site of the Freedom Flame, which will be kindled like the flame burning before the tomb of the unknown soldier. It will continue to burn as long as freedom lives in America, said Nixon. By the next morning, the vice president's announcement was found in newspapers all across the nation, and throughout the coming days, the sensation of this event would grow. By the following week, it was revealed that President Ike Eisenhower himself would officially open the centennial celebration of the Republican Party in Ripon, Wisconsin, by pressing a telegraph switch in the nation's capital to light the Freedom Flame, and that at 8 o'clock on March 20th, the President of the United States will press the telegrapher's key and spark an electrical impulse that will travel by wire of Western Union to the Freedom Flame and cause Ripon's memorial candle to light. It was said the lighting will then set in motion a Freedom Torchlight Brigade of some 1,000 torchbearers who will march through the streets of Ripon lighting candles in every home and business establishment, setting forth a presidential proclamation that this Freedom Brigade is to be repeated every year thereafter on March 20th. There was a time in the 80s when magician David Copperfield vanished the Statue of Liberty. Many people still credit this feat as the greatest illusion ever. I remember I was as a small boy watching the illusion on live TV. Today, in 2018, I find the reason why David vanished the Statue of Liberty and the symbolism more important than the trick itself.
I want to tell you why I did this. My mother was the first one to tell me about the Statue of Liberty. She saw it first from the deck of a ship that brought her. She was an immigrant. She impressed upon me how precious our liberty is and how easily it can be lost. And then one day, it occurred to me that I could show with magic how we take our freedom for granted. Sometimes we don't realize how important something is until it's gone. So I asked our government for permission. to let me make the Statue of Liberty disappear, just for a few minutes. I thought if we faced emptiness, where for as long as we can remember that great lady has lifted up her lamp, why then we might imagine what the world would be like without liberty, and we'd realize how precious our freedom really is. And then I would make the Statue of Liberty reappear by remembering the word that made it appear in the first place. The word is freedom. Freedom is the true magic. It's beyond the power of any magician. But wherever one human being guarantees another the same rights he or she enjoys, we find freedom. How long can we stay free? For just as long as we keep thinking and speaking and acting as free human beings. Our ancestors couldn't. We can. And our children will.
On the night of March 20th, 1954, President Eisenhower was attending the White House press photographers' dinner in his honor. He left and went to a nearby room. He pushed down on a special golden telegraph key embossed with a gold flag. He held down the key for a few moments and then looked at D.E. Long, the White House communications officer. "That ought to do it," the president said. Long nodded, and Mr. Eisenhower started back to the banquet. But he had to stop, making certain that the flame had lit. The president was told that he had indeed ignited the gas torch in front of the little white schoolhouse, and Ike then urged his fellow Republicans to face the future, as he put, with faith, hope, and courage to fulfill their responsibilities. The celebration in Ripon had indeed begun. Amazement as the flame flashed into the night when the president pressed the key in Washington, as excitement had broke out from all those who were witness to the ignition. Ripon Mayor Robert Bourne told the cheering crowd of several thousand that, "I solemnly pledge in behalf of the people of Ripon, their children and their children's children, to keep this torch aflame as long as freedom exists, and God willing, may it forever." Then 600 torches made from rags soaked in oil, tacked onto long sticks, were lit from the flame of the freedom flame and spread through the city of then 5,600 people in a giant procession. Republican spokesperson and chairman of the Republican National Committee, Leonard Hall, from the president down, had classified the torch and its lighting to be kept aglow as a symbol of America's freedom and liberty, and said the light was expected to bring the people all over the world, even behind the Iron Curtain, the hope that they will someday enjoy the freedom that we know in the United States. Leonard was right. The worldwide spotlight shined down on Ripon as the morning papers rang news of the event all around the world. It was compared to other lights in history like the Arc de Triomphe in Paris and the Olympic light from the original flame at the first Olympic Games. However, by the time President Eisenhower gave his second inaugural address, referencing the Freedom Flame in 1957,
May the light of freedom, coming to all darkened lands, flame brightly, until at last the darkness is no more.
And not long after the spotlight of March 54 had faded, like a Copperfield illusion, the significance of Ripon's flame had vanished. We ask why. Where did it go? It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. The chilling symbolism and disappearance of this light is the slap in the face to the honor in which it was created. We are a new audience now, one that is cheering to rekindle that flame once again. On March 20th, the Ripon Rabbit Hole will, in honor of the duty in our mission for the spirit of Ripon, will electronically reignite that spark just as it was so many moons ago. We vow to hold and keep lit virtually until the presidentially proclaimed tradition and physical freedom flame returns once again to its intended keepers, the citizens of Ripon, Wisconsin. And to any individual worldwide, we share that flame with you.
The unity of all who dwell in freedom is their only sure defense.
In 1854, 50 men, 3 women, and a child walked into this one-room schoolhouse in Ripon, Wisconsin, divided. When they emerged, they were united. United in freedom. This year on March 20th, Ripon Rabbit Hole and thefreedomflame.com will rekindle the spirit that keeps the flame alive in our annual celebration. We invite everyone, regardless of your political affiliation or location in the world, to join us in rekindling the spirit of that flame.
May the light of freedom, coming to all darkened lands, flame brightly, until at last the darkness is no more.
Register now for event details at thefreedomflame.com.
All right, guys, I just wanted to pop in really quick and say goodnight and say thank you so much for hanging in. I love that there's 5 people watching right now. That is so awesome. And so, yes, this is why we support the Freedom Flame here at the Keeper of the Flame podcast, because we believe in unity. Unity above all else. We need to find common ground. We need to find a way to get together and to celebrate our similarities first, and then maybe we can work on our differences. But for now, this holiday season is a perfect time to focus on that. So I just wanted to say thanks again to everybody. And sounds like Jen is going to be actually physically there in Ripon, Wisconsin for the Freedom Flame lighting ceremony. So that's really exciting. Jen, I believe, has actually been in the Ripon Rabbit Hole. So if I remember correctly, that was a few weeks ago. But anyway, if you would like to check that out, definitely next Friday, we will all be there. I like to be a part of the studio audience. AJ always has a different panel, and they're always wildly intelligent, and the conversation is very riveting, and a lot of it has to do with local Wisconsin politics, but there's still a lot going on, and we are at the very core talking about synonyms to freedom. So who doesn't love freedom, and who doesn't love celebrating freedom? And so what better way to unify a divided country but around the freedom flame? So anyway, I'll leave you on that note, and we will definitely be doing this again next Friday at 5. So keep an eye out for that here at the Keeper of the Flame podcast channel, and also on Facebook Live for Power Girl Productions page and my personal page. So if you haven't found me on Facebook yet, definitely check me out, Power Girl Productions. That is my business page where I share a lot of the trauma stuff that we talk about, and other things. And then if you're a personal friend on Facebook, you can see, I'll let you in through that higher level, and you can see a little bit more of my personal story. So anyway, I just want to say thank you again for the support. This has been fantastic, and we are definitely going to make a habit of this so that you can know that we're here for you on Friday nights to get you all warmed up for Freedom Flame Friday in the Ripon Rabbit Hole. And then remember to keep an eye out for Moxie My Heart. I dropped that in the chat, the link for Moxie My Heart. Give her some love, guys. We're doing some more channel videos with her, and we are going to be hiking and doing some trail videos with her. So if you wanted to see how beautiful Humboldt is for your very own eyes, this is a great way to do it. I'm going to be sharing some of the most beautiful vistas that you can even imagine here at the very tippy top of Northern California, with Moxie My Heart. And then there's some really cute, quick videos if you want to know what it's like to be living with the alligator. That's that's what it looks like. So anyway, again, thanks for your support, and enjoy your weekend. And again, don't forget where your help comes from. Number one, he's right there with you, and he can't wait for you to reach out. And you don't even have to know what to say or what to do. Just say his name. Just start by just saying his name, Jesus. Because I'm telling you, those boogies don't like that name. You start saying that name, things will start changing. All right. So it's speaking of that, this is all to the glory of God. And I just want to say thank you again for all the support. And we will see you next Friday at 5 o'clock. All right, guys. Take care. Have a great weekend. All right. Enjoy. Happy holidays.